Regardless of the season, there's always something to do in the out-of-doors in the Southeast. Some prefer their adventures in small doses with minimum risk, and others aren't happy unless they're playing closer to the edge. Hello, I'm Scott Foster, and welcome again to Rain Country, where this week we take off with some folks who do their adventuring in 3 different parts of Southeast in 3 distinctly different ways. And as frequently happens for those of us who live along the Inside Passage, we begin where many of our adventures do, on the water, in a boat.
The mountains, the peaks, the waterfalls, the valleys, it's just, that's what comes into my mind. It just, everything is right there and it's so close, you can just reach out and touch it. Today everything is kind of subdued with the grays and the clouds and the rain, and it's just like being in Shakes Glacier when you're looking at the one waterfall and the fog was coming down over the hill in there. You could just, it's just kind of changing all the time. I think it's very different than just a clear, bright, sunny day. It creates its own magnitude. Stikine does.
The Stikine River is one of southeast Alaska's 3 major trans-boundary rivers. The first boats to travel it were probably the log canoes of the Tlinkits, as they made their way to trade with natives of the interior. In the late 1700s, the river attracted British, Russian, and U.S. fur traders. The discovery of gold near Telegraph Creek in 1861 brought miners and steamboats. But the short-lived gold rush proved more profitable for the stern-wheelers than for the miners. After the bust came Western Union's proposal to run a telegraph line from Europe across the Bering Strait to Telegraph Creek. That project was abandoned when the transatlantic cable was laid. Another rush of river traffic came with the Cassiar gold strike in the 1870s. And some seeking their fortune in the Klondike rush of 1898 traveled up the frozen Stikine after being misinformed that it was the easy way to the Yukon. Riverboats continued to carry supplies and sightseers up the Stikine until a road to Telegraph Creek and the airplane became the major transportation links. Today, it's a major getaway spot for Wrangell residents. Many have vivid memories of their first journey on the river.
The fish were spawning in the streams at that time. A guy by the name of John Ellis gave me my first ride in a small Monarch with a 40-horse prop. Terrorized the heck out of me. But we had a great time doing it. We went places that you don't normally get to go because the river was up. You know, it was rainy, but it was still great. I spent my first year here riding with people I met whenever the chance arose to do it. Second year, it was the same thing until about midsummer, and I finally had to have my own boat. So I got me a small scow and started doing it myself. Spent the next 13 years learning the flats and doing what I do.
Harding takes passengers up the Stikine on 2 open jet boats, the Wild Side and the Wave Dancer, and aboard the 50-foot Stikine Princess. It was built by Bob Henning, former publisher of Alaska Magazine, and made one run up the river in 1976 before being purchased by Harding in 1990.
I'm now able to take both kinds of people. The adventurous types of people, the Wild Side, the Wave Dancer, and the outboard jet can take. The people who are a little more milder, don't want that kind of excitement, but yet want to see the scenery, the Princess can take that. She's comfortable. She's big enough that you don't have to worry about getting seasick, that kind of thing. Basically, I just want someone to come aboard and have fun. Go out and do something that they've never done before. Something that's new, a little different. Make your heart beat a little bit. Just give you a thrill. The bottom line is just to have some fun.
For Harding, the fun starts at the mouth of the Stikine River, 5 miles north of Wrangell. It's his job to navigate the Princess past sandbars and through the shallow waters of the tide flats.
As you enter the flats, we had 156 feet, I believe, and then she started climbing. Once we got up on the flats, we were running in about 13, 15 feet of water. It varies as you move along. Then she started shallowing up.
Water depth is fluctuating now between 5 and 9 feet.
Princess is capable of traveling in 10 to 12 inches of water, but the sounder quits reading at 2.5 feet, and it quits reading, I start getting panicked. I got to find a way out of where I'm at, because I know I'm pushing it. You just follow deep water. Faster moving water, big boils. If you notice that the boil's surfacing, and water coming up from underneath. The water coming up from underneath has got sand in it, you best be looking someplace else. Then normally those are smaller boils and it's shallow water.
Once across the tide flats, it's about 30 miles to the Canadian border. From there, the Stikine continues on for about 350 miles to its headwaters. The river is multi-channeled with miles of creeks and sloughs to explore. Along the banks are large stands of cottonwoods and willows, while spruce and hemlock cover the mountainsides. The area abounds with wildlife, and it's a popular moose hunting area. A favorite spot for local residents is Chief Shakes Hot Springs and nearby Shakes Glacier.
It's an entirely different world up there, completely different than any other place. I've been in wilderness areas down in Oregon and California, and Alaska and the Stikine River is completely different. And when they get up there, it's like they're really amazed. And then they get off onto the wild side and just go blasting through some of the sloughs or you know, doing circles around the boat or whatever. And they just get really charged. And yeah, they want to come back. It's exciting.
I think they're a little nervous at first, but they have a chance to watch it handle and perform, and they have a little more confidence in it, and then they hop in it, and just about all of them like it. Things get boring. You can do a 360 with the boat. It's easy to do with that boat. Most boats won't do that, and riding the waves off the big boat is just a little more excitement for the trip.
Oh, golly, it was incredible. The scenery was beautiful. The ride was spectacular. Oh, boy. Well, about the best word I could describe would probably be it was wet, wild, and awesome. It was great. It really was.
It takes an outdoor person to enjoy this kind of a day. Most people would prefer to have a nice warm sunny day and not be wet or cold. It doesn't make any difference to me. It's just as good either way. I'll have to admit that it's a little more enjoyable because you're not wet and cold by the end of the day, but the fun is still there. That's what I want to remember. Just a good, enjoyable day. Something that was different.